The revelation of the secrets revealed in the apocalypses represents a development of the wisdom tradition's claim that the created world testifies to its creator. The primeval history, Genesis 1 through chapter 11, represents the beginnings of human history as a series of attempts to cross the boundary between humanity and the divine. The ascent to heaven is not the visionary idea, but an ascent to God. And these are literary creations, she notes, but she also says, I want to skip over here to, I've got so much. Ezekiel is the pattern for the idea of the ascent. This is what Segal also notes. And then on page 20 she says, the glory is described in terms associated with angelic priests, which in turn are drawn from biblical instructions for the clothing of human priests. Every temple needs priests, and the priests of the heavenly temple in 1 Enoch 14 are angels. A blazing fire encircled him, and a great fire stood in front of him, so that none who surrounded could draw near to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. He had no need of counsel, his every word was a deed, and the watchers and holy ones who drew near to him turned not away from him, by night or by day, nor do they depart from him. This reminds us of in 3rd Nephi, where Christ surrounds the children with the fire, doesn't it? Fire surrounded the deity. Well, these are some of the ideas about this principal view of the importance of bringing in the humanity with the divine world, and this process of ascension as a transformation. Permeating the veil, getting through the veil beyond our humanity into our divinity, because this is essentially what we are. Very interesting here. Now, I've got a lot of materials from Charles A. Gieshin, Angelomorphic Christology, Antecedents and Early Evidence. This is by E.J. Brill for 1998. My good friend Matt Roper of Farms, now the L.A. Maxwell Institute, helped me get this source, and I'm very grateful he did. Gieshin really does a bang-up job discussing this angelomorphic Christology, the ideas presented. On page 68, he's summing up his chapter on an angelomorphic God. He says, first, these texts, they present indisputable evidence of the understanding that God can manifest himself in visible form, ranging from a fire to a cloud to a man. When manifest as a man, which is by far the most prominent part of these epiphanic traditions, the angelomorphic figure appears either as a rather normal male or as an imposing warrior, sometimes quite large in size. The two primary reasons for these epiphanies were to speak revelatory words to someone, or to offer visible assurance of God's guardianship and protection. These epiphanies, especially of God as a man, are fundamental to later conceptions of the figure upon the divine throne in Jewish apocalyptic and mystical literature. See here again, another scholar, another idea on this Jewish Merkava mysticism. It's a very important tradition, you see. He says, he notes, it's amazing that these startling epiphanic depictions exist alongside the prominent textual traditions that one cannot see God and live. And yet the Ascensions and the mystics constantly saw God and lived, and in fact, they were transformed into gods. He didn't say that, I do. And I've found lots of literature that I've shared in my podcasts on this. The second aspect, one of the two primary understandings of the angel of the Lord found in each of these texts, is the angel is either indistinguishable from God as his visible manifestation, or the angel is a figure somewhat distinct from God, but he shares God's authority. In the texts where God and the angel are indistinguishable, the angel of the Lord is understood to be God's visible form, but not distinct in any substantive way from God. And while we read in other texts, this angel is a distinct figure who functions with divine authority and power. The pivotal text that led to this second understanding is Exodus 23:20 and 21. This is where God declares, "This is my angel and my name is in him." The angel is seen as a figure distinct from God who will share in God's power by virtue of his possession of the divine name. This tradition, which understood the angel of the Lord to be a figure distinct from God, caused other angel of the Lord's tradition to be read in the same manner by later interpreters. The idea is the angel possesses the divine name. The angel was a person distinct from God who in a significant way shared in God's substance through the possession of the divine name. Now this is very important. The creature, the angel, shares in God's substance. The Trinity says the substance of God is not accessible to man. That's a false teaching, though. The earlier Jewish Merkava tradition that predates Christianity teaches the precise opposite. I think that's rather important. Skipping over here, what I want to do is touch several of Gieshen's ideas here. On page 76, the oath and the name which was passed on to Michael, the name of that man was revealed to them. See, in the text of 1 Enoch, there is a connection between the divine name and the name of the Son of Man, or the elect one. That the name of the Son of Man or elect one existed before creation is confirmed in another area of the Enoch text. The name is possessed by the angel Michael. This is the angel that goes in front of God. It offers justification for connecting the name of God with angelomorphic traditions, especially those involving the angel of the Lord. This could be hypostasized as an angel, this divine name thing. The union of the name and the angel caused later exegetes to read one tradition in light of the other. Name and angel became two of the leading traditions and titles that make up the complex logos imagery in Philo of Alexandria. There was a pre-existence of the angelomorphic figure who possessed the divine name. On page 78, Moses was not the only human being to be accorded the honorific status due to the investiture of the divine name in him. And Philo says Moses became God. This is very powerful, very interesting here. He was as God himself. This glory of Yahweh and seeing the Elohim of Israel is the tradition as recorded in the sacred scriptures. On page 80, the primary angelomorphic manifestation of God in the texts related to the angel of the Lord is as a man. This gives evidence, the theophany gives evidence that God manifested himself in human form. And they mention he's made of a face, back, his hand, he stands, etc. This is on page 81. On page 82, the seated figure on the throne is described in the Merkava mysticism as well as in Ezekiel as the likeness, as the appearance of a man. This is especially true where God appeared in the form of a man. The manlike glory reappears in Ezekiel chapter 8. Instead, the glory functions here as an angelus interpreter who put out his hand. He transports the prophet Ezekiel via the Spirit to Jerusalem for visionary experiences. Now this is interesting. On page 83, Roland sees this appearance of the man-like glory apart from the divine throne in Ezekiel 8 as a very significant depiction, and one that represents the separation of the form of God from the divine throne chariot to act as a quasi-angelic mediator, he says. What is amazing about Ezekiel chapter 1 is that the figure on the divine throne is described as appearing as a man, but that he appears seated on the throne in the powerful opening vision. This is very interesting. The idea here ties back to Daniel chapter 7 verses 9 through 13, where the one like a son of